Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
It's our grand final special, and we've been trying to tie it all in with a bit of footy, and we thought we need someone who has represented both the clubs that we support. And who else should we call in but Lincoln McCarthy? I mean, Nakia Cockatoo. I mean,
no, it's the other
Trent
one.
West. I mean, Andrew Bews. Welcome.
Great to have me on board, boys.
It is.
There's a bit of history about Geelong fellas going up to Brisbane, isn't there?
There is a bit. And just as well, we've never sent any down to you like, Chris Scott or Nigel Lappin or any of those.
Yeah, I know.
Steve Reynolson.
Reciprocation, that's good.
Yes.
David O'Keefe.
And it goes both ways too, not just reciprocation.
Andrew, lovely to have you on board. Really do appreciate you giving up your time. You have played in a couple of these, so I guess you know what the players are going through. But tell me, as a player, how would you have enjoyed this extra week break in the middle? Because it's driving us supporters absolutely crazy. Yeah,
well, it would have driven me mad. I used to actually really enjoy the fact that... in the early part of my career, we used to play the Ansett Cup, and that was done on a Tuesday night, which meant, so that was in the early part of the season, so you'd play your Saturday game, you'd have a Tuesday night game, which would be fantastic, but as soon as you got knocked out, you were done. So the incentive was for us to play right through as far as you could, because it got you out of training, and if you'd ever trained with Tommy Hafey, you would understand Tuesday night you could have been heading home at about 9 o'clock in the morning. So
particularly if Saturday hadn't gone well.
Especially, yes.
Bring your mouth guard, boys.
I played in one grand final. I only played in 89. I didn't play in anymore after that. I did my shoulder in the 91, I think it was, or 92 grand final. Yeah, I missed that one with a crook shoulder. So I'm only guilty for one of these grand occasions.
Just on that too, let's wind the clock back to that day, because you went into that game. No one really thought you could win except the people around the Geelong Footy Club at the time. And I remember as a supporter, it was just the joy of being there on the day. I didn't think we could probably beat Hawthorn either. But as a group, how do you remember how you approached things pre-game?
Oh, look, it was all brand new. We played, we played some night finals, and I think, in fact, against the D's in the two previous years. So it was something that was, look, we were getting closer to the understanding of playing finals. Bear in mind, 1981, I think it was, preliminary final. I didn't play. I was playing down at the Cats, but that was Billy Goggin took the team to the preliminary final against Collingwood. And the Cats hadn't played in a final since that day, right up until 1989 in that first final we played. And so familiarisation with actual finals was really sparse and poor. We really had no experience in that day format in the real McCoy. So we were making it up as we went along in that series. So we mucked our first final up. I'm sure that was against the Bombers. Then we took on Melbourne, we took on the Bombers again. So we went from getting flogged by 80 points to, I think, winning by 80 points with the D's in between. So it was, look, we felt we were getting better with all the experience we were getting in that final series. The week of that grand final, I remember Blighty, he was obviously mindful that Hawthorn had a pretty good history over us throughout the previous 8 or 9 years. And, it was a tough task to play them at their worst, let alone at their best. And so, we had meetings, we had special, we went through this scenario of how we were going to play against them. There was a lot of, attention to detail going into that grand final. And I know people would say, oh, yeah, you expect to do that. In today's terms, yes, you would expect that all to happen. But back in the day, remembering that we were working day jobs and we were trying to find time to have these extra meetings and extra. So it was, we were leaving no stone unturned. We actually did believe that we were a dead set chance because we'd marched them pretty close in the previous game we played them, which is a tough one at Princes Park. And I think we were 50-odd points up at half-time, and they were able to trounce us back and roll us over in the last quarter. So, we knew we were getting close, but they were a very, very good side.
The other thing too, Andrew, that is peculiar to that year, and I don't think it happened again afterwards, was I was at that ground that day as a Fitzroy supporter, mainly watching the seconds. I got a couple of free tickets, and Fitzroy had played Geelong in the previous game, and in the game before that, Geelong had also played in the under-19s. So all three Geelong sides were playing on the one day. I think it was a total of 9 points in the end. I think was the total margins. They lost all three really, really closely. The fact that it was an all-club event, did that make any difference, do you reckon?
Well, it gave everybody a chance to, be there as a unit. I'm pretty sure the club won the McClellan Trophy that year, and if no one's familiar with that, it's actually used to be the under-19s aggregate with the seconds aggregate, also the seniors. So that gave you points value, and you ended up on a sliding scale table. So I'm sure we won it.
You'd have to get that close.
We're playing the finals, so it was. Look, I think it was terrific. Nobody got left out unless they were injured, and I think the only person that there was probably two guys who were missing that day. Damien Drum, I remember, went out with a corky from the week before, and I think the other one was Gavin Exel. I think had a broken jaw, but Gavin had been put out of the side before the finals and was playing in the two. So would he have played in the senior side? Who knows? Because when you've got an opportunity to play and build your form, particularly that side, you're a chance to get into the team. But Drummy, I know we missed dramatically. I think Marty Christensen might have also been out of the side, unlucky. So, we had a bit of stock to fall back on, but I thought that the team we went in with was the best that we could supply at the time, and it was very special. Yeah, going in with all teams in the finals, and I remember the seconds hearing how it had fallen apart. I think it was a guy called Dean Lupsam and another guy. He's a keen fisherman. I can't think of his name.
Oh, there was
Rex Hunt.
No, there was a chap called Doc Wheeldon who went berserk in the second half.
Yes,
and he went around clocking blokes allegedly, and he was wearing the number 50 jumper, and he took it off and put the jumper next to the goalpost and went round whacking blokes, allegedly, so that the umpire wouldn't recognise him and report him. The fact he had a mohawk was a bit of a giveaway.
Doc's a special unit. I actually do. I follow him. We're friends. We're actually friends. I didn't have any altercations with him at any point in time. I knew he was a pretty hard nut, a bit stupid, but a good guy to bash on with social media and the like. So I see what he's up to these days. Keen fisherman. He loves his getting out his boat.
He's down Wonthaggi way, isn't he?
It was a bit of a worry, I heard.
Sorry?
It was a bit of a worry out in the field, I heard.
Oh, yeah. As a Fitzroy supporter, yeah, you reckon I thought.
Bewsy, we love the way you played and coached, so I'm tipping that you would be looking forward to this evening's game because both these sides, I reckon, play the sort of footy that you like to play.
Look, these two teams play generally a very exciting brand of footy. You rarely see Melbourne slow down greatly, aka Geelong style, and you rarely see you never see the Bulldogs when they're in good form slowing the play down. They just go helter-skelter. So I love the fact they take the game on. They play instinctively. They're not mechanical. Look, I think there are times to be very mechanical about your play, but you've got to be in a position to warrant that. And these guys, they play to win. There's no saving games. There's no hoping that you can restrict. There's none of that. They just play to win, and the team with the highest score will be the victor. And that's what I love. So I think the last 2 weeks we probably saw the worst preliminary finals, I think, in history. And this could be the fact that this could be the best grand final we'll see in history. So yeah. I'm looking forward to it from that point of view.
Yeah, very much so. Do you have a winner and why?
Listen, now I've got to preface this with the D's back in my time caused us a lot of anguish and pain, and it was a lot of, I'm going to say they're probably the most antagonising team that I would have played against in my time. So do I dislike them? No, I don't dislike them. I respect them as a club, and particularly what they've done this year and in probably the 3 years leading up to this. I respect what they've done. They're not my favourite team.
Okay.
Probably my most disliked team.
Even-
But there's reasons for that. But I have less... I did actually have a little bit of involvement with the Doggies back in the day when I was a head coach of Williamstown, and we had an alignment with the Bulldogs. So, there was a few boys I followed their careers all the way through that played with us at Willie. So I have an attachment there, very thin as it may be, but I do like the way they play, probably a bit more. So respect the Melbourne scenario. Love the way the Doggies go about it, and I'm going to back them in for a 3-goal win, and so they'll be 18 points.
Yeah.
In the Doggies' way.
So, as a Brisbane Lions supporter, I'll just grit my teeth and say, as long as they get 18 free kicks to 5 in the second half, they're a very, very big chance.
Ooh, he's not bitter at all, Bews. He's not bitter. Not one bit.
No, it does hurt a lot, let me tell you.
Sometimes Geelong supporters will be looking for a reason to attach. Stephen King sits in the coaching box at the Western Bulldogs, and it's great to see little Shannon Burns in the pink jacket and the pink shorts running as the runner for Melbourne. So a little bit for the Cats in each camp as well, which is good to see.
Oh, it's great, and they've got that little bit of experience up their sleeve. They know what it takes to win that big day, and over there, night game, going to be a bit different. Some people, I heard Clarko mentioning that some of the players will play the game in their head because they've got way too much time in their hands. They've got a whole day of being awake and thinking about the game. Where so those that can battle that demon, this could throw a whole new thing into the equation. It could be. We might see one of the superstars will not play well. Imagine Bontempelli going out and have already played the game in his head and he doesn't get a touch. How would it be if Maxi Gawn, he just wanders around like he's a lost dog? It'd be a disaster. So let's hope they cope well with the... being at Perth, at least they can be a little bit oblivious to the pressures that normally would be on them in Melbourne.
Because I think the other thing too, I read in the paper yesterday, there's actually going to be 46 blokes chosen, 22 for each side plus the 2 medical subs. And I'm wondering why we haven't heard anything about the other 41 players apart from Gawn, Petrarca, Oliver, McRae and Bontempelli.
They are the superstars, my friend.
They are certainly the media favourites. I still haven't quite got my head around how Marcus Bontempelli is the best player in the AFL when he's not the best player at his club. I'd take Jackson McRae every day of the week.
He's a good player, Jackson McRae.
Isn't he, though?
He was integral, I think, in their last premiership and went under the radar. I just think he's been such a good player over a good, long many weeks and years of his career. He's just hardly stepped a foot wrong, but yet no one knows him.
No, he's a ripper.
I remember, I'm going to say 2013-ish, somewhere around about there, the Oakley Chargers were playing in the TAC Cup final. Christian Jacks, who ended up at Greater Western Sydney and Carlton, I'd coached him as a junior, he took a mark with 2 seconds to play in the last quarter. He went back and kicked the goal. They hold the siren because it was a chance it would be a draw, and Christian's goal took them over the line. The next minute and a half was basically golden touch. Jackson McRae had 4 touches in that game, and in fact in that last couple of minutes, and he kicked it behind from out on the boundary. He got himself out by himself, and I thought, this kid can play footy. And I've been watching him ever since. He is an absolute superstar, and if his surname was a bit different to McRae and it was maybe had an Italian flavour, he might have been a bit more of a media favourite.
No, he's a good one.
He doesn't do anything special with his hair. He doesn't do anything special except be consistently consistent.
He's a ripper, absolute ripper. Hey, can I ask a serious football question, which is unusual for me, I know. You were playing with a team in the northern part of Australia in the late 1990s, and I think I'm right in saying your last season up there was a little disappointing for the Lions. I think they ended up last. At that time, you were surrounded by superstars in the making, because 3 years later they were premiers. Which team in the AFL right now is, we'll call it wallowing, near the bottom of the ladder, that you can see in the next 3 to 5 years being the next big thing like Brisbane were?
Well, it's very... That was a unique scenario we found ourselves in. We actually had played a qualifying... We played a knockout final in 95. 96 we played the preliminary. 97 we were... we, I think, played a qualifying again in Brisbane. So we played some finals. We were actually going okay. we just had a really bad 98 and a lot of injury, sacked the coach, all that sort of disharmony. So there's lots of ingredients. We're actually on the rise. So when Matthews and crew came in, they weren't taking over a mob of no-hopers. Right now, I haven't, if there's a team that's tumbled and is tripped and sort of stammering a little bit, what I do like is I look at Carlton and I think, wow, haven't they done some good stuff off field? That reminds me a bit of the Matthews takeover at Brisbane. So if there's a club that looks similar right now, it's probably more like Carlton, who have got a bit of a squad there. They actually have, and they just need to, put a few more in amongst it, put that staff together that Vossi will be able to do, and also Cookie. And I think we might just see a resurgence of the Carlton Footy Club, and they could become a power because, you look at some of those young players, they have got something to build around. So they just might need a little bit of experience, maybe a kid to pop up and all of us. I think they've got enough of those kids. They've got those key forwards, Big Harry and there's a few others too around him.
Curnow, if they can get him fit.
Yeah, Curnow. Look, there you go. There's your two pillars. And
Sam Walsh looks like he might have a bit of potential.
Oh, there's some good players there, mate. There really is. So they would be the one that would sing out to me that they've got that potential and that opportunity to really rise and take the competition by storm.
It was an insightful question.
It was an insightful. I've got a better one coming up, I reckon. Bewsy, let's get closer to home. Aware of the fact that there's a conflict of interest involved with your young bloke at the club. Just talk about the Cats. First of all, let's just touch on Jed. I sat beside you at I reckon he was playing about his 46th or 7th game at Geelong one night. He still hadn't got himself set in the team. He was working very hard. And you were just talking about getting those games, getting that experience and confidence. He's up in the 120s now and certainly one of the first picked. Have you, you're obviously watching very proud as a father, but you would say he's just put his game together piece by piece, as you said that night. It's just a matter of more time.
Oh, look, it is. And you've got to be trusted enough to get those games under your belt by the coaching staff. And, if you're doing enough things that there is only one group of people you've got to satisfy with how you go about playing your game, and that's the coaches. And no matter what the public is saying, no matter what they're writing about you, it matters for naught because, those guys that are looking for that thing that they've told you to do, they're the only ones you've got to make happy because, I can recall back in my early days getting absolutely carved up by media about, the small mids, no good at Geelong and they're not progressing and, I think I was about an 18-year-old kid. So I played my first game at 17, 18's no good, 19 no good, 20 finding his way. And I could tell you that Geelong didn't make it easy for us to progress. Every pre-season there'd be 80 people at training and 50 of them be bloody rovers and small forwards. So they were looking hard. They were trying. They recruited Dennis Lenigan from Carlton to come and take our spot. There was a whole heap of guys that were just, always there to pick up if you were no good. So the coaches have to just trust in, us as footballers to do what they told us to do and to improve. And I think that's all the young fella's done. He's just found a way to, continue to improve. And he's always had that those side steps and all that stuff. Always had him in his game, but they've really been prominent in the last couple of years, and that just has come with total trust and new roles because the coaches you keep getting better. They give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you stagnate and you start to just play the same game or you don't defend, we've seen some of the young kids recently, and some of them will leave this year because of it. They don't progress. They don't look at their game holistically. They don't look. They get the advice that you should. Lock down a little bit tighter or be more defensive, and they don't do it. They just want to run forward. Well, you find yourself on the outer, and that's how Scotty coaches. You've got to take him for his word. If you don't do what you're told, you'll be put out.
Yep. The list management will look after itself, and as a supporter, we always hope that something new, fresh and bright comes into the list. But I want to put something to you. There'll be at least 3 new assistant coaches next year. We've got no idea who they are, whether they'll go for a bit of experience or bring a new one in. But Can 3 good, fresh-faced, new voice, new thought process assistant coaches be as good as 3 more good players?
Well, I saw over time, and I'm going to go reflect on history to guide me on this answer. Kevin Sheedy was the grand poobah master of surrounding himself with new people consistently and reinventing himself as a coach. You know, to do the amount of years that he did at the one place, it's testament to him, but also testament to his ability to bring new ideas and new fresh people in and make an impact. So if Scotty's using that as a model, success will come his way.
Yeah. No, that's a pretty good answer, because I was being worried. I was thinking, oh, geez, is there cracks there? Is there something wrong? Are the supporters right? Is Scott not the right thing? But I've tried to have a positive view about it, and I did fall back on that thought process, and hence I asked you the question, and I'm pretty pleased with the answer, because you're quite right. There's one we interviewed last week, Dale Amos, who was at the club and is now looking for a job after 6 years at Carlton. Whether he comes back in, I'm not sure. Whether I'll go for 3 blokes fresh out of the game, we don't know. But they'll bring new ideas and new thoughts, and hopefully a bit of a change to the way the players view the game as well.
Yeah, look, I need to also state that Chris Scott can coach. There's no problem there. We all know he can coach. But what we're frustrated with is the style and brand of football that I guess they've tried to continue with in finals, and it appears that, you know, that brand doesn't win you a grand final. You know, you look at the last few premierships, they've been the teams that have gone helter-skelter from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, whereas Geelong play a very strong control brand of football. And that might be great week to week, and you might be able to choke teams off during the season, and particularly the weaker sides. The good sides, the best sides, have that other ability, that running ability, and the Cats can do it. They just don't do it long enough.
Yeah.
But with that, I'll also say that I think that no matter who the assistants are, you've also got to give them some rein too. You've got to let them put their imprint on those areas. You know, a bit like Scarlo in the defenders. You know, you can see what he's done with that group. You can see that he's got them into that very strong team resolve. They don't, you know, as individuals, I don't know how they go in any other side, but as a group, they trust each other. They work for each other. They do it like Scarlo did. You know, like he kept them solid. They were the little group of they were the misfits.
Yeah,
they were the misfits. They were a bunch of weird, crazy recruits from different areas and different lifestyles and different sports, and he turned them into something. So you need to have those assistants come in and be able to do that.
There's a good mate of yours, Sars, is going to be building a house soon right next door to mine. Hopefully we might have a beer over the back fence one day soon. Bewsy, lovely to have you aboard. Really appreciate your insights. Your love of the game oozes through. Appreciate it this morning. Enjoy your grand final tonight. However you're going to have it, I guess it'll be an odd look though, because we can't get around much.
The beauty is, my friend, that this year, I don't have to worry about a result. I don't have to worry about the Geelong Addy photographer turning up at half-time and watching the team absolutely implode in that third quarter. 5 minutes in, I went, oh no, this is going to be bad. And it got worse and worse and worse. And all the photographer did was sit there and waiting for me to show some sign of hope. There was none. It was a disaster. I don't have to worry about that. I can watch the game, just enjoy it, and go to bed. Might even have a few beers tonight. Just really enjoy the night.
Well, you don't have to drive home. That's a good thing.
Thanks for having me on, boys. It's been an absolute treat.
See you, Bewsy. Thank you for your time.
Grand final.